Here's one of the great UPA cartoons, bringing to life through animation the unique and memorable drawings of the humorist James Thurber, and doing so in wonderfully faithful fashion.
This was a pet project of Steve Basusto, the producer of UPA. He wanted to do a Thurber feature film, Thurber's Carnival or The White Deer. He had a lot of Thurber projects in development, and this was really the only thing to emerge from that.
And that music credit for David Raxon is significant because David Raxon was really a feature film composer. The year before, he had done one of his greatest scores for MGM's The Bad and the Beautiful. He's also known for writing Laura, the great film noir of the 1940s. And he did several UPA cartoons because they always sought out interesting and unusual composers who would get what they were doing,
right.
Who could bring the right sensibilities to each cartoon, which he definitely does here using a harpsichord, very ironic music. And later when we meet the unicorn, I think he uses a penny whistle as the theme.
It's sort of the opposite of the now cliche accepted expression Mickey Mousing, where
yes.
every little thing is augmented and underlined. This is one of the rare few UPA theatrical shorts directed by Bill Hertz, who was one of their great artists, designers, directors, who was an animator in Fantasia. He did a lot of the industrial and commercial films for UPA and did a couple of Magoo and a couple of oddball theatricals. But this is one of the best UPAs, in my opinion, and he handled it very, very well. They say that his biggest challenge was how to turn this film in color.
Well, yes, because Thurber's drawings were just plain, simple line drawings in black and white. And what he did, and Robert Dranko, his designer, in collaboration, I'm sure, was they kept them in black and white. The characters still look like Thurber cartoons, but they're in a world that is colorful around them. And that seems to be a perfect compromise to me.
Is a mythical beast.
Hertz actually, many years later, animated another great New Yorker humorist, Robert Benchley, in a series of vignettes taken from the famous Glyas Williams illustrations of Benchley's stories that he hoped to use as linking material for a Benchley feature using the old Robert Benchley shorts. It never came to pass, but he showed them at the Zagreb Animation Festival back in the 70s, and I've never forgotten them. They were just so wonderful.
Wow. We have to mention the voices. John Brown is the man, and he's well known to us cartoon fans as the voice, the narrator in Symphony and Slang. But
and known to us old-time radio fans as Digger Odell on The Life of Riley and Thorny on The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, a wonderful radio actor with a great voice.
Colleen Collins is the woman, the wife here, and she's also known to us from a Tex Avery cartoon. She's the country Red Riding Hood in Little Rural Riding Hood, which is a hilariously classic cartoon.
You are a booby.
What I find interesting about this cartoon, too, is that it makes no compromise, Jerry. It's a Thurber story, which he calls a fable for our time, and it's very adult.
Mm-hmm.
This is not children's entertainment.
Right.
I don't know what a kid would have made of this had he or she encountered it in a movie theater in the 1950s. I can't imagine a kid raised on a diet of Mighty Mouse and Popeye and Heckle and Jekyll to suddenly encounter this James Thurber fable.
By the time of this cartoon, by 1953, the UPA cartoons were now winning Oscars, and they were promoted and marketed as special events to theaters.
Yes, with individual one-sheet posters. They
Right.
had press books and one-sheet posters, which was unusual, especially for Columbia Pictures, which didn't spend that freely to promote things like this, but they knew they had a winner. And again, look at the use of color and the use of design here. Those aren't Thurber trees necessarily or Thurber plants in the ground, but they complement his drawings just right. And they all seem to belong together. The film has a nice organic look to it.
Yeah, there are several of these cartoons that, to me, epitomize, is that the right word? Okay. Epitomize UPA, at its height. I think this is one of them. It incorporates all their, all the lessons and all the things they want to incorporate into modern cartoons. It's modern art. It's adapting a contemporary humorist's work. it tackles adult themes. And I noticed a lot of these UPA cartoons feature psychiatrists. That's just something I've noticed.
Well, that was very much on people's minds at that time, especially, thinking adults. In the era of post-World War II, a lot of Hollywood movies have to do with psychology. And the film noir genre certainly deals with that in a very serious way. Here it's treated as a subject for humor and works out perfectly because of Thurber and because of Bill Hurtz's perfect adaptation of Thurber. If they'd had their way, they would have made nothing but these one-shot cartoons, each one unique to itself, not part of a series. But the commercial demands of Columbia Pictures insisted that they go back to Mr. Magoo more and more often.
These cartoons inspired independent animators. They inspired animation studios and independents around the world. Studios like the Zagreb studio would never have made the kind of films they made if they hadn't seen the films that came out of UPA. It kind of proved you could do all sorts of styles. There was no house style here. There was just an anything goes feeling to each particular film.
Warner Brothers made great slapstick cartoons. Disney did beautiful cartoons, but there are other ways and other methods that could be used, and that's what they proved conclusively. And I think the film is as fresh as it was the day it came out in 1953.